raised doubts about the West's ability to defeat the terrorists. And we can speak to Juren now. Juren, welcome. Thanks for coming on to RT this afternoon. What do you make of the NATO's commander's assessment there? He says that ISIL is using the influx of migrants to infiltrate Europe. From your experience of your time with ISIL, did you ever think that this was likely to happen?
This can happen, but it's not the main strategy. I think the NATO commander doesn't know the situation when he's talking like that. For ISIS, it's much easier to use their forces they have in the European countries or in the United States or in Russia. They have many friends, and these friends are ready to make terrorist attacks. So they don't have to take the risk to come with refugees and to cross the border. They can do it, but they don't need it.
So in your assessment, there are terror cells already based in Europe from which terror attacks would be coordinated?
They coordinate themselves. It's not difficult to make a suicide attack. It's cheap, it's easy, and they have done it, and they will do it again. They will do it again. What we have to do, we have to show in our countries, for example, I'm living in Germany. We have to show in Germany that this ideology is wrong. This ideology is anti-Islamic, and it's just a killer ideology. And we have to show the young people who live in Germany and in other European countries that this is a wrong way. It doesn't solve one single problem, and that is our duty.
What are people doing now then, Juren, that what aren't they doing that they should be doing? Because clearly it's a clear message, isn't it, that people know that ISIL is wrong. So what more should be done?
Oh, for example, they should prove, or our people should prove, that they are anti-Islamic. For example, Islam doesn't allow to destroy churches, synagogues or mosques. They do it every day. Islam doesn't allow to kill innocents. They kill innocents every day. Islam doesn't allow to force somebody to believe something. They force every day people to believe what they believe. And we should prove that even from an Islamic standpoint, this ideology is wrong. It's anti-Islamic, and they don't serve Islam if they think they are Islamic fighters. They fight Islam. They are a danger for Islam. And most of the people they kill in the Islamic State, and I have seen this, most of the people they kill are Muslims. So this is something we have to tell to young people. I meet this kind of young people, and they are very surprised when I tell them how wrong this ideology and how anti-Islamic it is.
Juren, just moving on to the situation in Syria at the moment, we've got a ceasefire there, currently seemingly holding, sort of. In your opinion, do you think it's got a good chance of being maintained?
I was in Syria 2 months ago. I met commanders of the rebels, I met President Assad, and I just had a phone call some minutes ago with Damascus, and I was so happy that my friends in Damascus told me it is holding for the moment, because people are tired. People are very tired because of this war, and every day it is holding. It's a wonderful day for these people. And after this phone call I just had right now, I'm a little bit more optimistic, because there are now contacts between the rebels and the government. There is a move within the rebels to separate their brigades from the terrorist brigades. For example, that's a famous Russian problem. In the southern rebel parts and in the western rebel parts, the rebels have been cooperating with Al-Qaeda, with Jabhat al-Nusra. And now the rebels are moving. They are moving in other quarters. So this gives an opportunity to attack Jabhat al-Nusra, Al-Qaeda, and not to attack the rebels. It was a big problem because they were working together. And for example, yesterday there was a fight where a terroristic group wanted to hinder a rebel group to leave the quarter where they were fighting. But the rebels wanted to leave this group because they wanted to show, we are rebels, we want to negotiate with the governments, and we have nothing to do with the terrorists. So if this continues this way, then we have a chance. I wouldn't be too optimistic, but I'm a little bit optimistic now.
Well, no, it's good to see you smiling about this, because before the ceasefire started, that was exactly the point. Many people were saying that, look, we've got sort of moderate rebels, inverted commas, fighting in places that are right next to ISIL, but you seem to think it's possible to differentiate geographically where these people are. So essentially, the ceasefire might be able to succeed.
It might be able. It's not a problem that they fight with ISIL. ISIL doesn't fight with rebels, but the so-called moderate rebels, there are no moderate rebels. A rebel who is fighting is not moderate. But the so-called moderate rebels are starting to try to separate from Al-Qaeda, Jabhat al-Nusra, and that's a very good sign. And if we succeed, that's a dream. It's not a dream, it's not a nice dream, but it is a realistic dream. If the rebels would start to fight together with the official Syrian army against ISIL, then on the ground, then we would have a chance to fight down ISIL and at the same time to have peace in Syria. So there is a window of opportunity. I don't know if we will use this opportunity, but I hope so.
And finally, Juren, just to get your thoughts on what John Kerry said about a plan B and potentially partitioning Syria, do you think that could work?
No, that's a very bad plan. That's the plan of Joe Biden. They always want to divide the countries. They have divided Iraq in two parts. They have been starting to divide Syria into 4 or 5 parts. They have divided Libya. So weak countries, divided countries are weak countries. And I have the impression that certain American politicians like weak countries in the Middle East. Syria is a historical country, is a wonderful country. I love this country. I've been so often there, and that's the beautiful thing, that in Syria, Christians, Muslims, Shias, Sunnis have been living together and could live together and should live together, even with the Kurds. So we shouldn't separate this country, we shouldn't divide this country. That's a very, very bad idea.
Juren, it's been great talking to you. We have to leave it there, though, unfortunately. But that was Juren Todenhofer, a journalist, as you heard, a man who's travelled extensively in Syria and also spent 10 days embedded